see you back again to your story class. All of you are most welcome. Today, I am going to tell you some holy incidents from the early life of Swami Vivekananda. Let us start with a small holy chant. I chant one line, you repeat after me, right? Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya. Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om peace, peace, peace. Now, because I am going to tell you holy stories, you try to sit in a calm and quiet place. Whatever I tell you today will be part of your growing up days, and try to keep them in mind throughout your life. Are you ready? So, here we start. I believe you remember in my last story session, I told you that Vivekananda, or Narendranath as he was called at that time, was born with the blessings of Lord Shiva. How do we know how Shiva was? We all have seen picture drawings of Lord Shiva sitting and meditating in Mount Kailash. So, our idea of Shiva is associated with his meditation, right? As Narendra was born with Shiva's blessings, he too got this meditative nature from his early childhood. And I hope you also remember how much fascination he had for the monks from his early childhood. You remember, don't you? Not only that, he had this nature of his love for monks in his blood too. His own grandfather, Durga Prasad Datta, became a monk in his youth and left home to do tapasya in Varanasi. So, there was a religious atmosphere in his family. From his early childhood, he observed that the older members of the family worshipping God and meditating in front of God. So, it occurred to him also that he too should meditate and he should worship. So, one day he went to the market along with his friend called Hari, and they bought a clay image of Sita and Rama. Then, when no one was there, they climbed the stairs that led to a tiny room on the roof. They closed the door, installed the image, and sat down to meditate. Meanwhile, the parents of the boys, they noticed that the boys were missing. So they started searching for him. Ultimately, they reached the roof and found that the room is locked from inside. So they knocked and shouted, but there was no response. Ultimately, they broke open the door. Inside were the two boys. See, Hari's meditation, Hari, his friend, you remember? Hari's meditation was disturbed at the first knock itself and he became scared. So now, finding the door open, he ran down the stairs so that he won't get the beatings. But Narendra, he did not hear anything at all. The elders found him seated in front of the image of Rama and Sita in deep meditation, motionless. They called, Naren, Naren, but he did not respond. Then he was shaken out of his meditation. He insisted on being left alone. What to do then? They left him there. After that, Naren now got the taste of meditation. So he thought of Shiva. And he bought an image of Lord Shiva, and he and his small friends started playing meditation in front of the image of Shiva. Right? One day, a cobra appeared where they were sitting and meditating. See, even though the boys were playing meditation, they were playing only. Only Naren actually slipped into real meditation. Seeing the cobra, the other boys were frightened. They shouted a warning to him, "Stop, stop!" and ran away. They ran away. But Naren remained motionless. He was meditating. The cobra, after lingering for a while, crawled away. Naren told later that he never knew of the snake, and he also told that he was feeling so much joy that he could not express it in his words. See? Naren himself told about a strange happening during his childhood days. He said, "From the earliest time that I can remember, I used to see a marvelous point of light between my eyebrows as soon as I shut my eyes to go to sleep at night. I used to watch its various changes with great attention. That point of light would change colors and get bigger, bigger until it took the form of a ball from this size to this size. Finally, it would burst and cover my body from head to toe, and I would be flooded with white liquid light. Light, light everywhere. As soon as that happened, I would lose outer consciousness and fall asleep." He never mentioned this to anybody, thinking that everybody sees light before going to sleep. Then, one day, he asked his friend, "When you go to sleep at night, do you see a light between your eyebrows?" The friend said no, she did not. "I do," said Naren. Then he told him, "Try to remember, do not fall asleep as soon as you go to bed. Be alert for a while and you will see it." Obviously, such happenings are not for everybody, isn't it? So the boy did not see any light. Many years later, Naren said, "I used to believe that was the way everybody went to sleep. Then, when I grew older and began to practice meditation, this point of light would appear to me as I closed my eyes, and I would concentrate upon that." How was it? Just imagine how wonderful it would be if we too could get that experience. Wow! Naren was so fond of monks that just to see a monk was a moment of pleasure for him. Seeing him, the monks also blessed him heartily because they found that spark of spirituality in his eyes. I think you have heard that eyes always reflect the inner mind of the person. So that happened. So Naren actually always had this longing to be a monk. In his school, he used to ask his friends if anybody of them had a member in the family who had become a monk. If the reply was yes, Naren used to keep that boy in high regard. He always used to tell his friends, "You see, definitely I will become a monk someday. And all of them wanted to become monks when they grew up. Why? Because Naren wanted to become a monk. But actually, none did so. It is not so easy to become a monk. Okay, so, see, another thing was, Naren used to have a dream quite often. He would find that he was a king and all the treasures of the world were under his command. And then he would find that he was able to give up everything and become a monk. He cherished the idea that when he grew up, he would certainly become a man among men. What an ideal, wow. During his school days, a very significant thing happened, you know. Naren had a vision of Buddha. He saw the figure of a monk, absolutely calm, shaven-headed, and staff and water pot in hand. There was a wonderful radiance on his face. At first, Naren was scared and he ran off the room. But later he wanted to have that vision again and ask him some questions. That never materialized. You can't have the same vision again and again, you know. And Naren always repented his running off. See, he lost a chance of speaking to Buddha. Oh. When he was growing up, see, his interest in God caught hold of him. From the deep heart, he believed that God exists. He began to think, if God exists, I must be able to see Him. How to see God? He was restless. He started reading books on philosophy and he started attending lectures of prominent religious leaders of the times. He went to many sages and saints one by one and asked each of them, "Sir, have you seen God?" They were taken aback at the idea of seeing God. A saint just told him, "My boy, you have the eyes of a yogi." What good is that if I can't see God? So nobody could satisfy him with a proper answer that was believable. The only one man who immediately gave him a direct positive answer. Yes, I have seen God. This was Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. And not only so, Ramakrishna also told him, yes, I have seen God as I am seeing you, only much more intensely. And if you want, I can put you two in the way of seeing God. Just imagine. Now, about this Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. I know all of you have heard of him and remember his name. Sri Ramakrishna was a renowned saint and he stayed in Dakshineshwar on the bank of river Ganga near Calcutta. Vivekananda's noblest part of life was his association with this Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Books on Vivekananda mention that he was brought to this world from Saptarishi Mandal by Sri Ramakrishna. Do you know how it happened? Listen to the thrilling anecdote. I'll tell you. One day, Sri Ramakrishna was sitting under a banyan tree on the bank of the river Ganga in deep meditation. Then he had a distinct vision. His mind was soaring high along a radiant path, a path filled with bright light. He crossed higher and higher levels of heaven, and he found on both sides of the way the ideal images of gods and goddesses. His mind still went up and up and up. He crossed the heavenly upper levels and reached a point where the worlds of name and form just ended. Then his mind soared even higher. There was the land of infinite light and consciousness and bliss. Bliss, do you know? Bliss is a combination of maximum happiness and maximum peace, without any beginning or end. So he saw only light and consciousness and bliss. In that region, he saw 7 rishis in subtle bodies, seated in deep meditation. These sages were in higher regions because they were better than even the gods. Better in what? In purity, in holiness, in knowledge, in renunciation, in love. In every way, they surpassed the gods and goddesses. Here, they were enjoying the divine bliss of meditation. Then what happened, you know? Sri Ramakrishna saw a portion of that area condense into the form of a lovely, beautiful, divine child. It came to one of the sages and tenderly clasped his neck with its lovely little arms. This divine touch of the divine child aroused the sage from his meditation. He half opened his eyes and saw who had brought him out of meditation. His beaming face showed that the child was a treasure of his heart. The child addressed him in a sweet voice. I am going to the earth. You too must go with me. The sage remained mute, just nodded his head in happy consent and again went back to his meditation. So this was the vision Ramakrishna had. And this sage was born as Narendra, who later became the ideal in meditative power and was revered by the whole world as the ideal monk, Swami Vivekananda. And the divine child, oh, it is believed that he was born as Sri Ramakrishna. Yes. Today time is up. When we meet again, we may speak more about Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. Till then, think of the stories you heard today. Tell them to your parents and friends and remember them always. Let us conclude with a small chant. Om Bhurbhuvassuva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat.